Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever felt that sudden distance from someone you care about? That moment when he withdraws, and the silence feels louder than words? I want you to understand something crucial. His pulling back is rarely a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of his inner world. When you give him space, when you resist the urge to chase, something remarkable happens. You regain your power, your clarity, and most importantly, your self-respect. This isn't about playing games. It's about showing that your life doesn't revolve around someone else's emotional ups and downs. Ignoring him strategically allows him to confront his own feelings. It forces him to see your value in absence, to realize what he risks losing if he continues to withdraw. And here's the truth, the outcome of ignoring him is rarely what you fear. It either brings him back with renewed respect and interest, or it reveals the depth of his commitment, giving you the clarity you need to move forward confidently. By choosing yourself first, by standing firm in your worth, you create a magnetic energy that draws the right attention naturally. You are no longer a player in someone else's indecision. You are the prize, and the world aligns with those who recognize their own value. When someone you care about suddenly pulls back, it can feel confusing, frustrating, and even painful. Your mind races with questions. Did I do something wrong? Is he losing interest? Am I not enough? But the truth is, his withdrawal is rarely about you personally. Understanding this is the first and most important step toward emotional clarity and empowerment. When someone distances themselves, it often stems from their own internal struggles, insecurities, fear of vulnerability, or unresolved issues that have nothing to do with your worth or your actions. Recognizing this allows you to see his behavior as a reflection of his inner state rather than a judgment of your value. People often pull away when they feel overwhelmed by their emotions, unsure of how to process them, or when they fear intimacy. This withdrawal can manifest in subtle ways: delayed responses, shorter conversations, or reduced enthusiasm. Each of these actions can trigger self-doubt, making you question yourself unnecessarily. However, by understanding that these behaviors are not direct reflections of you, you create mental space to respond with clarity rather than reactive emotion. It's natural to want to fill the void when someone distances themselves. The instinct to reach out, to ask for reassurance, or to try to fix the situation is strong because we equate attention and communication with love and validation. But when you understand that his withdrawal comes from his own unresolved feelings, you realize that chasing or demanding explanations is unlikely to change the underlying issue. Instead, responding with patience and emotional self-control becomes a powerful tool. Recognizing the source of his behavior also allows you to detach emotionally in a healthy way. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means acknowledging reality without letting it dictate your self-worth. You can care about someone while also understanding that their actions are a reflection of their current emotional capacity, not a reflection of your desirability or value. This perspective shifts your mindset from reactive to proactive. It enables you to focus on your own life, goals, and well-being, which in turn strengthens your emotional resilience. Understanding his withdrawal also requires an awareness of timing and context. People retreat for different reasons, sometimes needing space to think, process emotions, or handle personal challenges. Interpreting these moments through the lens of your own worth can create unnecessary anxiety. Instead, recognizing that withdrawal is often a temporary state influenced by external pressures or internal conflicts can help you remain composed and centered. This approach encourages empathy without self-sacrifice. You can hold space for someone else's emotions without compromising your own. By realizing that his withdrawal is more about him than you remove the tendency to internalize blame, which is often the source of prolonged anxiety and emotional exhaustion. Furthermore, understanding this keynote builds a foundation for better communication in the future. When someone withdraws, responding with calm awareness rather than panic allows for conversations that are constructive rather than reactive. It positions you as someone who values themselves, someone who is emotionally intelligent, and someone who navigates relationships with discernment. Ultimately, the recognition that his withdrawal is not an indictment of your worth empowers you to remain steady, confident, and grounded in your own value, even when the dynamics of the relationship feel uncertain. This mindset becomes a guiding principle in handling not only romantic relationships but all interpersonal connections where emotional dynamics can feel unpredictable. By seeing the situation clearly, you maintain your self-respect while allowing the other person the space they need, creating the conditions for authentic connection to either grow or clarify itself naturally. Creating space when someone withdraws is one of the most powerful tools you can use in relationships, though it often goes against our instinct to reach out, seek reassurance, or fill the silence. Giving space is not about punishment or playing mind games. It's about recognizing the natural rhythm of human emotions and allowing both parties the opportunity to reflect, recalibrate, and reconnect from a place of clarity rather than tension. When someone pulls away, the immediate reaction for many is to chase or overcompensate with messages, calls, or attempts to solve the perceived problem. However, this approach often amplifies confusion and anxiety, making the other person feel pressured or trapped. By stepping back intentionally, you create a healthy distance that encourages self-reflection for both individuals. Space allows the person who has withdrawn to confront their feelings, understand what they truly want, and evaluate their priorities without external pressure. It gives them the mental room to recognize what they may be missing or taking for granted, which can naturally reignite interest or prompt honest communication. At the same time, giving space serves your own emotional well-being. It allows you to detach from immediate reactions, observe the situation more objectively, and assess your needs and boundaries. Rather than being consumed by uncertainty, you can focus on your personal growth, goals, and self-care, which in turn enhances your confidence and attractiveness. This is not passive waiting, it's active empowerment. Space is also a subtle but effective way of shifting dynamics within a relationship. When someone withdraws, they may be testing the boundaries or attempting to gauge your emotional investment. By responding with calm distance rather than anxiety or desperation, you take back control of your energy and the pace of interaction. This shift can create a sense of intrigue and respect, as it demonstrates that you are secure in your own life and not solely dependent on external validation. Importantly, giving space does not mean cutting off all communication or being cold. It means consciously choosing moments of silence, limiting unnecessary contact, and prioritizing your own life and well-being over constant engagement. It's about creating a balance where you honor both their need for reflection and your own need for emotional stability. In doing so, you foster an environment where connection can be restored naturally rather than forced. Space also encourages emotional intelligence and self-awareness. When the intensity of immediate interaction is removed, both individuals can better understand their feelings, motivations, and the role they play in the dynamic. It's a moment for introspection, which often leads to clearer communication and healthier relationship patterns. Moreover, the act of giving space communicates confidence and self-respect without words. It signals that you are not desperate for attention or approval, that your life continues regardless of someone else's presence, and that you are capable of handling uncertainty with grace. This silent strength often has a magnetic effect as it challenges the other person to reevaluate their actions and the impact of their withdrawal. Ultimately, the power of space lies in its dual purpose. It provides the other person with room to process their emotions while simultaneously allowing you to maintain your boundaries, preserve your energy, and strengthen your own sense of self-worth. By mastering the art of space, you transform moments of withdrawal from sources of anxiety into opportunities for growth, reflection, and deeper connection, creating a dynamic that is healthier, more balanced, and ultimately more empowering for both individuals involved. Maintaining self-worth in the face of someone's withdrawal is one of the most transformative steps you can take in any relationship. When someone pulls back, it can trigger insecurity, self-doubt, and even panic, leading many to overcompensate or diminish themselves in an attempt to regain attention. But true strength comes from holding firm in your value and refusing to let another person's actions dictate your sense of self. Self-worth is rooted in recognizing that your happiness, confidence, and fulfillment are not dependent on anyone else's validation. When someone withdraws, it is easy to fall into the trap of interpreting their distance as a reflection of your inadequacy. Thoughts like, "I must have done something wrong," or "if only I were better, he wouldn't be pulling away," often arise, feeding a cycle of self-blame. However, the reality is that withdrawal often stems from the other person's emotions, fears, or distractions, not from any deficiency on your part. Holding on to self-worth means understanding that your value does not decrease because someone else struggles with their feelings or makes choices that challenge your patience. It requires a conscious shift in focus from external validation to internal affirmation. By actively nurturing self-respect, you prevent the erosion of confidence that often accompanies relational uncertainty. This is not arrogance or emotional detachment, it is grounded confidence, a recognition that your life, goals, and happiness are your responsibility and cannot be held hostage by someone else's emotional state. Maintaining self-worth also affects the way you interact with the person who has withdrawn. Instead of chasing or pleading, you engage from a position of strength, demonstrating that you are emotionally stable and secure. This subtle power communicates that your presence in their life is a choice, not a necessity, and it encourages mutual respect rather than dependency. Furthermore, prioritizing self-worth helps you set and enforce boundaries. When you value yourself, you are less likely to tolerate behavior that undermines your dignity, whether it's inconsistent communication, disrespect, or manipulation. Boundaries are a natural extension of self-respect. They protect your emotional energy and reinforce the idea that your time, attention, and affection are precious and not to be taken for granted. Maintaining self-worth also fosters resilience. In moments of uncertainty, it allows you to remain composed, patient, and clear-minded rather than reactive and anxious. Resilience stems from knowing that your sense of identity is independent of someone else's behavior, enabling you to navigate emotional fluctuations without losing your balance. Additionally, self-worth influences the outcomes of relationships. People are naturally drawn to those who exhibit confidence, self-respect, and emotional stability. When you maintain your value while someone withdraws, you create an energy of respect and admiration, often prompting the other person to reflect on their own behavior and the significance of the connection. It also clarifies intentions by holding your standards and refusing to compromise your self-respect. You see more clearly who is genuinely invested and who is not, saving yourself from unnecessary heartache or wasted emotional effort. Cultivating self-worth is an ongoing practice. It involves daily affirmations of your value, prioritizing your goals and passions, and surrounding yourself with people and experiences that reinforce your confidence. It is about choosing yourself first, even when it is tempting to sacrifice your needs for the sake of someone else's attention. In essence, maintaining self-worth is about standing firm in your identity, honoring your own needs and desires, and refusing to let another person's withdrawal diminish your sense of who you are. It transforms moments of uncertainty from opportunities for self-doubt into opportunities for self-empowerment, allowing you to approach relationships from a position of strength, clarity, and authenticity, and ultimately shaping the way you are treated and how you experience connection on a deeper, more balanced level. Shifting the dynamic in a relationship when someone withdraws is one of the most subtle yet powerful ways to influence the emotional landscape without resorting to pressure or manipulation. When a person pulls back, it naturally creates an imbalance. You may feel anxious, uncertain, or compelled to chase, while they may be testing boundaries, processing emotions, or evaluating their investment. Recognizing this as an opportunity to recalibrate the dynamic is crucial. Instead of reacting impulsively or trying to control the situation, you can take deliberate actions that shift the energy in a way that benefits both your emotional health and the clarity of the relationship. When someone withdraws, many people instinctively respond by increasing effort, reaching out more frequently, or attempting to coax attention. While this may feel proactive, it often reinforces the other person's power and perpetuates a cycle of uncertainty and dependence. Shifting the dynamic requires stepping back, holding your own ground, and refusing to let the withdrawal dictate your emotional state or actions. By maintaining composure and focusing on your own priorities, you assert a quiet authority over your life, signaling that while you value the connection, your happiness and self-respect are non-negotiable. This recalibration can change how the other person perceives the relationship. When you stop reacting to every fluctuation in attention, it encourages them to reflect on their behavior and recognize the significance of your presence. It transforms the interaction from one-sided pursuit into mutual engagement, where both individuals must consciously choose to contribute rather than taking your attention for granted. Shifting the dynamic also involves intentional communication and emotional management. By responding selectively, thoughtfully, and confidently, you influence the tone and pace of the relationship. Instead of being drawn into reactive patterns, you guide interactions with clarity and intention. This creates an environment where connection can happen on balanced terms rather than through anxiety-driven efforts to gain approval or reassurance. Furthermore, this shift has a profound impact on self-perception. By asserting your value and maintaining independence in the face of withdrawal, you reinforce your own confidence and sense of agency. You stop seeing the relationship as something that controls your emotions and instead view it as a space where mutual respect and choice define the connection. This shift empowers you to make decisions based on clarity rather than fear, allowing you to identify behaviors and patterns that serve or hinder your emotional well-being. Over time, the dynamic shift can lead to healthier engagement from the other person. When they realize that attention is neither automatic nor guaranteed, they are more likely to approach the relationship with intention and sincerity. This does not mean every withdrawal will result in renewed interest, but it does mean that the interactions that do occur are more likely to be grounded in authenticity rather than emotional manipulation or unconscious testing. Shifting the dynamic also encourages long-term relationship sustainability. When both individuals operate from awareness, self-respect, and intentionality, the connection becomes more resilient. Patterns of neediness, anxiety, and chasing are replaced by respect, reflection, and conscious choice. You create a foundation where emotional fluctuations are navigated with maturity and interactions are driven by desire for genuine connection rather than reactive fear. Importantly, this approach fosters personal growth. Shifting the dynamic challenges you to remain composed, focused, and self-assured even when external circumstances feel uncertain. It strengthens your emotional intelligence, teaches patience, and reinforces the importance of boundaries. By mastering this, you cultivate a relationship environment where mutual respect, understanding, and authentic interest define the connection, rather than inconsistency, insecurity, or imbalance. Ultimately, understanding and applying this principle allows you to navigate withdrawal with clarity, composure, and strategic intention, transforming what could be a source of stress into an opportunity for empowerment, balanced connection, and greater insight into both yourself and the other person. The outcome of strategic ignoring when someone withdraws is a concept that can completely transform the way you navigate relationships. Often, the immediate reaction to withdrawal is panic, overanalysis, or attempts to fill the void with attention and reassurance. However, choosing to respond with calm, intentional distance is a powerful way to gain clarity and insight into both the other person's intentions and your own emotional needs. When you ignore someone in a thoughtful and deliberate manner, it creates a space that allows the other person to confront the reality of their actions. In absence, people often begin to reflect on what they are losing or taking for granted. The silence or lack of immediate engagement serves as a mirror, revealing the impact of their withdrawal on the connection. This reflection can lead to renewed interest, clearer communication, or even a shift in behavior that aligns with mutual respect and intention. Ignoring strategically is not about punishment or manipulation. It's about creating conditions that naturally encourage authenticity. It gives both individuals the opportunity to pause, evaluate, and consider the relationship from a more rational, less reactive perspective. By stepping back, you remove yourself from the cycle of emotional chaos, allowing the relationship dynamic to reset in a healthier way. One of the most profound outcomes of this approach is the empowerment it fosters within yourself. When you resist the urge to chase, plead, or overextend emotionally, you reinforce your own self-respect and boundaries. You demonstrate that your attention and energy are valuable, and that you will not compromise your dignity for the sake of someone else's uncertainty. This self-assured stance often compels the other person to reassess their behavior, and in many cases, it naturally attracts them back toward clarity and genuine engagement. Additionally, strategic ignoring helps clarify intentions. Relationships can often be clouded by ambiguity when one person is inconsistent or emotionally unavailable. By holding your ground and allowing space, you give both yourself and the other person the chance to reveal true priorities and levels of investment. It becomes evident whether the connection is mutual and sustainable, or whether it lacks the commitment necessary to flourish. Another critical outcome is emotional stability. In moments of withdrawal, it's easy to become consumed by anxiety or doubt, which can lead to impulsive decisions or behaviors that undermine your own well-being. Strategic ignoring allows you to maintain composure, reduce stress, and approach the situation with rationality rather than fear-driven reaction. This creates a sense of calm confidence that is often magnetic and draws the right kind of attention. Furthermore, the practice of ignoring strategically encourages self-reflection. While the other person is processing their feelings, you also have the opportunity to evaluate your own needs, boundaries, and emotional responses. This introspection strengthens your understanding of what you want in a relationship and reinforces the importance of self-respect as a foundation for any healthy connection. The outcome of strategic ignoring, therefore, is multifaceted. It can lead to renewed interest, improved communication, and clearer understanding of intentions, all while reinforcing your self-worth and emotional resilience. It transforms withdrawal from a source of anxiety into an opportunity for empowerment, insight, and personal growth. By mastering this approach, you navigate relationships with confidence and clarity, ensuring that connections are defined by mutual respect, intention, and authenticity rather than by reactionary patterns or uncertainty. Learning how to respond when someone withdraws is not about control or manipulation. It's about clarity, self-respect, and emotional intelligence. By understanding the reasons behind their distance, creating space, maintaining your worth, shifting the dynamic, and applying strategic patience, you empower yourself in ways that transform uncertainty into strength. The outcome is a deeper awareness of both yourself and the other person, the ability to navigate relationships with confidence, and the courage to demand the respect and investment you deserve. Ultimately, standing firm in your value turns moments of withdrawal from a source of anxiety into an opportunity for growth, authentic connection, and the kind of love and respect that is earned, not chased.